Hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit about horses that are hot, quote unquote hot in terms of their temperament, overly forward, a little bit in the what I call runaway horse category. Often that might be due to their breed, that they have a hot temperament or personality, or also that their training has been exposing them to more flight related responses, like off the track thoroughbreds. Sometimes hot Iberian horses, warm bloods. It goes across all different breeds, that there's always this thing that there are horses that just want to just kind of storm off and make the rider feel as if they can't use their legs. And then a lot of times, the recourse is that the riders use, heavier bits or martingales or any other types of tie downs to keep the horse from bringing the head up when they're running off. And I think all those things are never really the answer. They're just combating the symptoms, but they're not getting to the root of the problem. And to me, that's always where you have to start. You have to think about how does the horse perceive us and why does the horse run? And first, of course, you have to exclude all, health issues and tack issues and saddle fitting and find a good mellow but effective bit for your horse's mouth. And I'll put a couple of links in the description of the video. But ultimately, to me, what it really comes down to is trust. And the horse can only trust when it's not, or he or she is not, in a stress mode, in a fight or flight mode, right? So to me, you start in the walk. Just go and have a long rein walk and see how much left, right, lower leg impulses you can give, how much your horse can tolerate when they're not quite warmed up yet, not quite in, yeehaw mode. And, alert for sure and warmed up for sure. Maybe you would have, ridden your horse for a good 10-15 minutes on a super long rein. And then you're going to slowly add a little bit more impulse of left, right, lower leg, aids that show the horse what type of walk you want to have, what kind of rhythm, right? And then you have a super long rein. My hands are close to the buckle. And, depending on the safety issues and safety concerns that you might have, it's really helpful to think, okay, I'm sitting on a hot or a runaway or a traumatized horse. What am I going to do if I'm on a long rein? As a rider, I have to feel secure enough to think that this is okay, that I don't, start out riding with short reins and sometimes long stretched out arms. And you can see that shifts the weight already and the horse reacts a little bit to it. And then suddenly you're already starting to have sort of a more adversarial connection to your horse, because that's what a lot of those runaway horses are afraid of, is the strong rein contact or the painful bit or too much of a leg, if they even allow it at all. So the first part is, to me, is to use our weight aids, our leg aids, and our rein aids in a way that break the pattern of what the horse expects, right? So I like to start with just going shoulder to shoulder. This is, the type of walk where you just sit on your horse, you can look down, and your shoulders follow your horse's shoulders. This is a really, really good tool that you can start with. Every time your left shoulder comes back, your left lower leg goes on. Right shoulder comes back, the right lower leg goes on. So it's left, right. And if you pay attention, and if you keep your arms to your sides a little bit, connected to your torso, you will have this cabinet effect of your upper body that creates a structure that the horse can feel, and your seat bones are actually starting to massage the horse's back. And that massaging effect is a really wonderful, calming, soothing part for the horse to listen to before you even start with anything else. You're just going to say, okay, we're going to walk and we're going to be in sync. I'm becoming, as the rider, more synced up with the horse's motions, and we're not really asking anything other than to be in a relaxed, regular rhythm to walk together, right? And then the next thing is, I want to see if I can, without much rein, if any at all, I want to bring the horse to a halt, right? So I'm going to breathe out, knee pressure on. This horse knows this, but if you don't have a horse that knows this, and your horse is more, not quite as ready and a little bit more moving forward than you like, then you just relax your legs again, go shoulder to shoulder again, shoulder to shoulder, regular rhythm, and then you're going to try it again. Breathe out, knee pressure, and halt, right? And I want to loop back really quickly to the safety concern that I was talking about a moment ago. When the occasion should arise that you suddenly have a spooky horse, or a horse that where you really have to have a shorter rein, you have to think, okay, so here's where I have buckle long reins. Should the horse suddenly spook or run, you just widen your arms like this, shorten your reins, bring your arms back, and here is, the shorter rein, which of course now she's reacting to that. But that's all I'm saying. That's something that you have to keep in the back of your head. That is your safety net, right? That's why it's okay to ride with a longer rein. And of course, given your hopefully not too beginning riding skills, if you have a runaway horse, you should not be a beginning rider. That is I'm just giving that information as a fact. It's usually not a good mix. But you may be an intermediate rider or somebody who has a lot of feel and mileage in other ways, and so I think you can definitely work with a horse like that. So then you do the walk halt things for a few times, and I'm going to do it one more time. I breathe out, knees on, and my lower legs are actually off at this point. The horse is noticing my pressure from my knees and my breath out that makes my weight heavier in the saddle. And she's like, oh, okay, I can do that, right? And if they don't react, you can do the tiniest little tuck on the reins, breathing in and cupping, and then back into walk. So you're going to start this conversation by saying, I'm going to massage your back, I'm going to go shoulder to shoulder, and then we're going to halt every once in a while. And that is the beginning of a horse being addressed in a way that he or she is not used to. Not using the reins. We're saying, here, we don't care. We're not worried about you. Not that we don't care, but we're not worried about you running off, right? So then you say, okay, so we can do that for a while, and we can do that in different variations. You can, do some serpentines across the arena and just, play with these elements. And then you're going to say, okay, so now I want to see how can I talk to my horse about the trot without even going right back to the shorter reins that the horse might take offense or, have a fear response to. So I say, let's see if we can get a few sitting trot steps on the long rein. And in the back of our heads, we already know that if the horse should run away, we have a plan. So plan number one, if you really should run away, you widen your arms and you bring your horse a little bit with feeling, but you say to them, here's a boundary. We're not going to run off here like a crazy person, right? But so that's your one safety thing that you can keep in the back of your head. The other one is, I'm on about 20-meter circle here in the center of my arena, and if my horse should start to get too fast in the trot, I will put my inside shoulder back, and I'm going to show it to you in the walk, and I'm going to ride a little teardrop, make a little U-turn, and have the horse come back to the 20-meter circle here. Now my right shoulder goes a little bit back, and then I come to a walk. That loop there would be in the sitting trot otherwise, right? And I'll show it to you in action just in a moment. But just so that, I think it's always important that we have a plan before we go and say, okay, let's give this a try. So I'm going to say to Philly, I'm going to breathe in a few steps of sitting trot, and ideally I'd like to come back into walk right away. Similar to the halt transition and the down transition to the walk, I'll breathe out and really like you blow out a candle. Like the space between your sternum and your belly button should become a little shorter. Not to hunch over, but to go like down like that, right? Knee pressure goes on, lower legs go a little bit back. Some horses like that, but not with any pressure at all. Your lower legs are sort of like little butterfly wings back here, right? So forward into the trot, I'm going to go cup her, breathe in, trot, 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 and breathe out. There. That's a walk for you. And of course, I'm demonstrating this on a horse that is not a typical runaway. I'm just giving you sort of the idea and the rundown of the aids and the breathing and all these different things so that I can talk and explain at the same time, But I'm just going to show you what I would do if she were to run off in the trot. I would say, okay, let's breathe in, trot, and let's just say here, I'm just going to make her go a little bit faster. Here she's starting to run. I'm not going to wait for very long. Inside shoulder back, just a little bit of inside rein, little teardrop, back to the circle, breathe out and walk. And just this little curve, the shape changing, or the change of shape that I'm riding, the line, will bring the horse back a little bit from that straight line of a flight response. You know, horses in flight mode go a straight line and just take off with you. But being on a circle to start with is a good thing, because you have a little bit more control and you have a little bit of a defined space. And then we're going to do it again here. We're going to go a little bit off trot. Ooh, there is a little bit of energy coming. And I'm going to say, okay, not so much. Inside rein, a little bit. Inside shoulder back. And tear loop. And right back here to the 20-meter circle and a walk transition. By the time you make the tear loop and you change the bend in your horse even slightly, it is so much easier for them to say yes to your request from your seat. The breath out, knees on. You know, and say, okay, walk, breathe. You know, if you feel your horse's energy rising in this context, then you go back to a halt, petting, letting the horse process. I might just stand here. If I had a really hot and excitable horse, I would just stand here and let her or him look around, take in the surroundings and say, hey, everything is well. I might, you know, pet her or him a little bit and say, hey, you know what, we're just wanting to have a few moments here and not a lot of repetitions. I'm breathing in again, walking again, and I'm going to do it again one more time here. Breathe in, trotting, you know, and just imagine the horse is going faster. Don't wait for too long. By the time you really have them very long or have them go for too long in the trot, their speed, breathe out, their speed will be too fast for you to make a comfortable turn. So don't wait. Just say, okay, so we're going to ride teardrops on a 20-meter circle. That's our pattern for today. A few repetitions to the left and to the right, and then you let it be for the day. And put the horse away. Don't think you have to do anything more. You know, especially when you're starting out. And say to yourself and to your horse, you know, we are actively rewiring the neurological pathways, or the neuronal pathways in the horse's brain that is geared towards speed and straight lines. And we're going to interrupt these patterns, these reactivity patterns, by riding a little bit differently and by sort of breaking the expectation of the horse. The horse thinks, oh my God, trot, run, run, run. And we're not even talking about what frame the horse is in, whether he or she is on the bit or anything. That comes much later. But first we have to have a basic understanding of, yes, we're moving together, we're halting when we need to halt, right? And then we're moving again when we want to move, cupping, not with the heels, but with the stirrup bars against the girth. And those are those micro agreements that you have to have with your horse before you can actually say, okay, now at some point, of course, we will address the rein issue. That's a different subject matter. But this is a really good starting point. And you can do that. And then as you feel more comfortable and more repetitions with your horse, you can, you know, expand on this and have longer trot, sitting trot sections until you have maybe half a circle. Then you walk for a quarter of a circle, another half a circle of trot, walk a quarter, and you make the trot stretches a little bit longer each time until you have a whole circle. And when you have that, that's a really good starting point for some of the other exercises that I will show you in different videos. But this is a really good way to start. And I hope this was helpful to you, just food for thought, and give it a try. And thank you, Philly, and happy riding. Good girl. So.